so this is going to be the DIY kit that we're going to have in the store in the near future. Basically, I'm going to go over just what comes inside the kit, some tools that I'm using, as well as just some, a guide of how to put everything together. All right, so in the kit, you will get some cable. So this here, I'm doing 5 feet. This is just 4-core cable. We have some 550 paracord. This is a neon green. This is TechFlex. This is shimmer, so it's like half clear, half gray. For this one, we're doing USB-C to USB-A. So here's the USB-C connectors, and here is the USB-A connector with the housing. So this comes in a metal housing. In addition, it comes with pieces of heat shrink to use for the ends of the cable. All right. So some things that I have already that I'll be using for this is a wire stripper right here. You got to be able to do at least 28 gauge. I have a pair of tweezers. Pretty nifty, right? I have a pair of needle nose pliers. Not fully necessary, but I use it just in case. A pair of scissors, just in case like our TechFlex is too long. And then a couple optional things you can have is a lighter. I use a lighter to kind of make it easier for me to sleeve the paracord or sleeve over the paracord. A heat gun. Boom. Just in case, I use it for finishing off the heat shrink. What else is there? We have a soldering iron, of course, and we have some solder. And also a fan for, a solder vent, because, no one likes inhaling, solder fumes, right? So yeah, that's what we have here. And I guess we can get started from there. So first off is always, there's a little core inside the paracord here. So let's unravel this first. Oh, all right, here we go. So basically in most cases, this should already be cut, but you might need to cut off the tips of the paracord. So I'm going to pull this back a little, and then there should be some strands inside here, right? So I'll pull all these strands out. There we go. You got to do this pretty gently. Make sure that this other side is cut as well, or else it might get like jammed inside the paracord. So we're just going to pull this out. Firmly yet gently, because we don't want to like kink the paracord or anything. Alright, this is a pretty fun process here. But I think we're almost... Oh no. Alright, here we go. Alright, so that's cleaned out. We have this empty paracord, and here's what the cord looks like. It's kind of fun, right? I have a lot of this just sitting in my trash can right now. Okay, and then next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this, take the cable here, and then we're going to unravel it. And this is what we're going to put inside the paracord. This part or this step may be a little difficult for people when they first start doing it, but like once you get the hang of it, it's like pretty easy to do. It's because sometimes like the paracord's pretty like tight around this wire, but if you kind of just like push it in firmly yet gently and kind of like finesse it in, it usually isn't too bad. So I'm gonna go start it here. All right. So I kind of do like a push and pull. It's kind of like a if you ever played like a Chinese finger trap when you were a kid, it's kind of like that. Sounds so dirty. I mean, if you're looking for a clean cable, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? But this should be pre-measured to 5 feet here, so we should be fine. If it's your first time doing this, I would kind of take your time, because like I've seen a lot of people when they first tried doing this, they've actually like broken the cable because they were like too aggressive with it. So yeah. And then a lot of times, on the other hand, people also get too frustrated in this step where they just kind of like quit, or they try to find a shortcut. There probably is a shortcut out there, but sometimes it's not very effective. Where do you buy the wire though? I buy my wire in bulk. I do have like a little spreadsheet I might link in the video / chat for some stuff that I use. Hey Ruda, thanks for the sub, man. Appreciate it. 2 months in a row. Thanks. Yeah, we also have if you haven't checked out the new badges, we have like I think there's a new badge at 3 months. I think it's red. But the year-long one, it has like sparkles on it. It's like super cute. We're going close to the end here. We have like another like 2 feet left. Yeah, thanks catnip. Yeah, that's the link to a lot of stuff that I first started using when I started. So close, so close. Yeah, this is kind of like this is kind of the part where I find pretty therapeutic. It's like knitting, right? It's kind of, it's almost like weaving, right? All right, cool. So here we reached the end. Let's see what we got on the other end. All right. So you see we have a little extra wire here. That's no problem. We'll probably just cut off the excess at the end. Ugh. You do want to keep I would say keep like an inch of bare wire at the end, because we will need to strip part of each side to solder our connectors. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm using a non-clear heat shrink. I'm gonna actually burn this here to make sure that the paracord stays on while I put on the Tech Flex. So we're about to blaze this up real quick. Okay. Be very cautious. Make sure you don't hurt anyone or anyone around you. Ooh, that's so hot. Oh my gosh. All right, I think we got it. A little burn mark on my finger, but that's okay. Please be safe with that though. I don't have any liability for any accidents that may happen there. All right, cool. So now we have the Tech Flex. So this should already be pre-cut, so there should be an opening here that will expand to go over the wire here. And let's go. Let's do it. So just as we did with the paracord, we just go over it. So it's looking pretty cool now, right? We have our lime green paracord with this shimmer, the gray/clear Tech Flex over it. Looking pretty good. I think this looks good. I like this color combo a lot. Oh yes. I think this part's a little easier because at least the Tech Flex expands, so it's not too bad. Japanese horror, right? I wonder who that is. All right, we're halfway there here. But yeah, just make sure it's even, because I feel like a lot of people they may force it and not straighten it out all the way. So I kind of do a pull all the way. So I pull it the length of it to make sure that there's no empty slack, I guess. And oh yes, sub sound. We do need a sub sound for sure. I'm not sure what it will be yet though. Okay, we're almost there. Yeah, I think in the future I'll do one with connectors and coils and stuff. So this is kind of just a starter one. I just wanted to get off my plate, so I'm able to do one at least. All right, so we're almost there. 1 second. All right, so we see here, this is a pretty cut to spec. We'll clean this up later. There's a little phrase here, but basically we see that the Tech Flex covered all the way through the paracord. And in this step, say the paracord or the Tech Flex is longer than the paracord, you can use your scissors just to chop it off a little. Thankfully, we'll be putting some heat shrink over this, so it can kind of hide some of our mistakes here. But usually, the Tech Flex will be longer than the paracord. Hey, what's up, Neighbor Dan? What's good? What's good? You and your Koikatsu, man. I don't know about that. Hey, thanks for the sub, man. Twitch Prime. If you have Twitch Prime, don't forget to use it. I wouldn't mind. And it's also free. If you're not using your free Twitch Prime, you might as well use it, right? Alright, cool. So I'm going to take some of the excess off here now. I'm going to leave an inch or so? Half an inch? I don't know. Whatever this length is. There we go. Yeah, with connectors, it's actually a very similar process. Like it's like 4 pins. It's like adding another connector, so it's actually not that complicated or different. But yeah, here I'm gonna strip it. What I do with my wire, or my wire stripper is that I kind of like gently like spin it around. If you have a bigger gauge wire stripper, you should be able to just like take it off easily. But for me, I kind of work with what I got here. So I'm just gonna like gently spin it around, and then I'm gonna strip it right here. So you see it's exposed now, right? There you go. Royal Molex cable. Where is it? Oh, it's to my side here. All right. And then what I'm gonna do is take all this. So there's this cable has like some some shielding here. We're just gonna take the shielding off. All right, cool. So we have the exposed wire, which is these 4 here. So I'm going to just chop this off using my wire cutter or wire stripper, which has a cutter part to it. Oof. I have a trash can under my table, so I'm gonna clean it up here. It's like having like metal hairs everywhere. Oof. There we go. I'm just gonna make this a little shorter. There we go. And then I'm gonna strip this using my wire stripper and just leave like a little left to make the contact to our connectors. So if you do look at the connectors, like I don't know if make this zoom in here, but the points of contact are actually pretty small, and all we need is enough to make sure that is able to make contact with these 4 different points here. All right, cool. So I'm gonna do that right here. Okay. And also, if some people have like really hot solder, especially if they're like basic solders. So some of the sleeving or the insulation of the wire may also come off while you're soldering the cable together. All right, let me get this off here. A couple more. Yeah, I'll take my time with this part. It's like you don't want to mess it up, and also you don't want to like accidentally cut your wire here. And I'm gonna do it. So here's the one side. So I have like little exposed tips here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I'm gonna do it to the other side too. Hey, Molex emote, not a bad idea. I want to have like Molex themed to everything now. All right, so I'm gonna strip this side. Same thing, putting gentle pressure. And then I'm just gonna like finesse it off. There you go. So now we have the shielding exposed, and we're gonna take this off as well. And we're gonna do the same thing we did to the other side. A Molex artisan. Hey, if someone can do it, that'd be sick. Yeah, the exposed tip is I don't expose much of it. You can do more for the USB-A side. I might do that here actually. But yeah, you don't want. I feel like the more you have exposed, the more you are kind of like allowing yourself to have a bad connection, because whenever metal touches metal, you basically ruin your connection, right? So like even if your metal or your wire touches the metal housing, that could short it most likely. So you just want to minimize the risk of that happening, right? If someone does make a Molex artisan though, I'd buy like 5 of them, maybe more. So this part's probably going to be the USB-A side, so I'll probably strip it a little more than the other side. Okay. All right. Oof. Oop, I messed up there. There we go. Yeah, this wire stripper I'm using right now was like $7 or something, so it was a pretty cheap one, but it's been doing me the job for probably made like 100 something cables already, so still serving me well. All right, so this one's a little more stripped, so I'll compare the two here. Here you go. Yeah, cool. All right, so right now I'm gonna warm up my soldering iron, and then I forgot to mention, but I also have this helping hands thing, so it's a little like clamping thing to like make sure the wire is in place while you're working with it. So yeah, turn on soldering. I'm using a heyco soldering iron. It's pretty fancy. It's way nicer than I'm used to, but it does the job for sure. For those of you who like don't have like experience soldering per se, there's a lot of really good YouTube videos out there. That's kind of what I started with. I guess a couple that I would say that I'm gonna do here is, one, I'm going to make sure to tin the tips of my wire, so I basically just add a little solder to it so it's easy to work with. As well as when I work with the contact points, I'm gonna feed the solder into the soldering iron, if that makes sense, to kind of to make sure that it's heated properly, and to make sure it actually like spreads on the contact surface. All right, so what we have here is basically a diagram of what's going on here. So you see how we have 4 different wires here: red, black, white, and green. We have the diagram here for the connectors that we're using. The top one is the USB-C, and the bottom one's the USB-C, and the top one's the USB-A side. So this one is like this one. Let's do this easier. Here we go. Let me put it on the floor. Yeah, there we go. Here's the USB-A. Then here's the USB-C. Does that make sense? Let me like zoom into that or something. Can I do that? Boom. Sorry for my messy desk here. Alright, that kind of zooms in okay, right? So yeah, we're going to follow this. So basically this is corresponding, and this is going to be, thankfully, like the USB-C and the USB-A, they're like, they're the ones that, the connectors that we have, they're the same kind of like contact points. So basically we're just going to follow the same pattern on each side of it. Alright, I think our soldering iron is at the right temp now, so I'm going to start with the USB-C side here. Come up again. Turn on my solder vent here. It was loud. Alright, let's do this. So I'm going to fan out my wire here to match the pattern that's going to be soldered on. So it's going to be black, white, green, red. Because this will make it, this will help us out when we solder it together. So you see how I found it out here? Black, white, green, red. Yeah, sweet. Alright, let's do this. Okay, first off, I'm going to tin the wires a little. So I'm just going to add a little solder to the individual wires here. Oh, I do have heat shrink on my helping hands tool. That's just to prevent it from breaking any of the material that I'm working with, because it's pretty sharp when you don't add heat shrink over it. Cool. So I added a little solder on each of the wires right there, and now I'm gonna add solder on the actual contact point. So I'm gonna put the solder close to the contact point, and then I'm gonna feed the solder into it. There we go. And then I'm going to do it for all contact points here. Yeah, on this part, make sure that the solder is like not, you're not connecting the contact points through the solder, because that's going to mess up your connection. So you want to see a separation between each contact point and the solder there. So I don't know if I could zoom into this real quick. Boom. Oh, I had it. I had it. Yeah, so we see the solder on here right now. Okay, cool. I think that makes sense, right? Okay. 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 So I'm gonna grab my tweezers now. And then I'm gonna solder the wire to each of the corresponding points. As a reference, I'll keep this over here. Over here. There we go. So our ground is gonna be black. Oof. Then our D plus is gonna be white. Our D minus is going to be green. And then our VCC is red. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, by the way, if you're chatting right now, you actually earn points. And if you're watching, you actually earn points already too. So, yeah. Yeah, we're going to have a giveaway at the end of the stream as well, so make sure you're saving those. Alright, see, I think this looks pretty good. Alright, cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the USB-A side. So then again, we're going to fan it out again. Black, white, green, red. Black, white, green, red. There we go. Cool. And then here's our USB-A. So this one, the contact points are pretty like deep. So there's like basically like a little valley in which the wire is going to be in. So I actually added quite a bit of solder in here. So what I do is I'll get my soldering iron. I'll be in like the deeper part of the... I'll put my soldering iron like towards like the end right here. Wait, too far. Towards like the backside here. And then I'll just feed my solder into it. And you can fill this thing up. Fill her up. Cool. So I have this tinned up here. So we see our... Each of these contact points now have some solder in it. And we're going to solder these, or tin these parts of the wire here. Boom. 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 All right, cool. Dang, you got the thing 6.5. I'm kind of jealous. You know, those look good. Oh man, I fell out. And those are the ones that come with the cool badges too, right? All right, let me solder this now. All right, here we go. Grab my tweezers again. And let's start that process like what we did for the USB-C side. Sometimes you gotta adjust your helping hand for like your angle of attack. So sometimes I have to like lower it or raise it. Depends on what I'm working with. There's one. Two. Black, white, green. than red. There you go. Pretty easy, pretty easy. Alright. Then we're going to add the housings onto it. So people sometimes add like hot glue here. This is an optional step, but it's a nice way to like make it more, prevent it from, shorting out. So I'm going to add a little heat shrink here. So I'm going to add some on this side. And the other side. Cool. Easy. Cool. That's a nut. Yeah, dude, that board is really nice though. Pretty jealous. Pretty jealous. Alright, so I'm gonna add the housings on here. I usually go over the paracord and under the tech flex. That's just kind of what I do. Some people do over the tech flex, but I have a hard time doing that. There we go. And then right here we have the little like part that secures into place. So I'm gonna use my needle nose pliers here to kind of secure that. Cool. Then we'll do the other side. Yeah, I'm gonna heat shrink it anyways, but you know I like doing a clean job as best as possible anyways. And then we have our USB-A side. We're gonna slide it into here. So here's the raised side. We're gonna go raised side to the short top, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna show us on stream here. There we go. Yeah, it's gonna go in. There we go. And then sometimes I like use my little thumb to kind of like push it in. So it's in there now. Then we're gonna add the top part of it to close it up. Then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go over the paracord and under the tech flex. You'll see like there's a little hole here, just to see if it's locked into place. So I use this as my guide here. All mistakes under heat shrink. Yep. You know, honestly, I kind of get a little worried when people order clear heat shrink. It's a fun challenge, but like, you know, it takes a little more, just like a tad more effort, just a little more effort, you know. All right, cool. All right, so what I will do now is that, depending on how long the cable is, if it's a straight cable, I kind of like hold the connectors like this, and then pull it straight, like parallel, to make sure that the connectors are like aligned with each other, if that makes sense. Yeah, so like I'm holding it like this to make sure that the connectors are like aligned properly. I mean, this is more of like a you know, nice to have step, but it makes it feel nicer, like the cable will feel nicer. All right, and then I'm gonna heat shrink this. So here's our USB-C side. I try cutting these as straight as possible, but just in case they aren't straight enough for you, you might need to like trim it straighter. So I'll go over and just go right over where the edge of the connector is. And then from here, I'll get my heat gun and blast it. Let me line it again. Here we go. Go all the way around. I will say, sometimes you may feel like you want to go pretty close to the heat shrink, because you don't feel like it's gonna burn. But if you get too close to the tech flex, you might actually burn the tech flex. So make sure that you're a good distance away. And then we're gonna do the last side, the USB-A side. Here we go. USB-A. I'm gonna slide my heat shrink over. Here we go. Boom. Usually I go all the way down first, and then I push it back up to catch all like the tech flex mishaps. Alright, cool. Then there's this little notch right here. I just go like slightly under the notch. Cool. Alright, then I'll do the same thing as we did to the other side. Cool. That's kind of it. So I'll add this cool little, zip tie here. I mean, of course, you want to test it as well. But I'll test this later. But yeah, make sure it works. Actually, I would make sure it works before you heat shrink it, because you can always like resolder it if you need to. If you need a desoldering pump, that's a good time to do that as well. But yeah, this should be a good cable here, and that's basically all the steps you need to do to make your own cable. It's pretty simple, right? There we go. Boom. Wait. There we go. There we go.